Alright, Shalom, Shalom. Coming to you in the name of Yahweh, Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Makar Kodash, with double honors unto the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, and salutes to the Akim out there that continue to push the word in truth and in sincerity. Brother Ramesh Shamar, coming back at you with this quick lesson. It's going to be a quick one, and title of this one is First Chronicles 28 and Matthew 16, because there's a correlation between these two chapters and these two books within the scriptures. And the underlying theme is that reincarnation is indeed a biblical concept. It's indeed very much real. It's always been, and it hasn't changed. Okay, reincarnation is a very apparent. It's very apparent, when you've got the spiritual eyes to see it. But if you haven't, it's going to seem like a far-fetched what do you call it, thing that can't be explained. But anyway, let's get on with the lesson, man. Oh boy, let me just situate these tabs and stuff. Bear me 1 second. Let me just make sure this is on. Right. Right, let's get started with this. And basically, this is a example of reincarnation in the scriptures. So anyways, this is the book. Oh, Salakia, let me share the screen. All right. Yeah, this is the book of First Chronicles, chapter 28, and from verse 1, and it says, And David assembled all the princes of Israel, the princes of the tribes, and the captains of the companies that ministered to the king by course, and the captains of the thousands, and captains over hundreds, and the stewards over all the substance and possession of the king and of his sons, with the officers, and with the mighty men, and with all the valiant men unto Jerusalem. Then David the king stood up upon his feet and said, Hear me, my brethren and my people. As for me, I had in mine heart to build an house of rest for the ark of the covenant of the Lord Jehovah, and for the footstool of our power, and had made ready for the building. But the Most High, the Father, said unto me, Thou shalt not build an house for my name, because thou hast been a man of war and hast shed blood. Okay, because when you get into those who deal with the oracles of the Most High in terms of fashioning them, making them, or anything to do with it, they themselves had to be sanctified, clean, pure, and without blood on their hands. Okay, and David was a man of war, so he couldn't initiate, he couldn't put the process, he couldn't get the process rolling, if you will, of building the house unto the Heavenly Father, because he was a man of war and he shed a lot of blood. Okay. And a man with blood on his hands can't build a holy house unto Yahweh. Okay. So howbeit the Lord Yahweh, power of Israel, chose me before all the house of my father to be king over Israel forever. Yeah, because David wasn't even a choice really. His father didn't even bring him, you know, amongst his other older brothers in front of the prophet as the one of the potential king, because he was the youngest. He was seen like he was never gonna be, but the heavenly Father chose him out of all of his brethren, man, out of his brothers. Okay, for he hath chosen Judah to be the ruler, okay, which is the head tribe, and of the house of Judah, the house of my father, and among the sons of my father, he liked me to make me king over all Israel, and of all my sons, for the Lord hath given me many sons. Okay, because David had a lot of sons, man, a lot of daughters. He had a lot of daughters and a lot of sons. But concerning his sons, he had a lot. Okay, and it says he have chosen Solomon, my son, to sit upon the throne of the kingdom of the Lord over Israel. Okay, because the same way the Lord came to David and said, "Nah, you can't build a temple because you're a man of war and you've shed too much blood. You got blood on your hands." Um, uh, um, the Lord told David also that out of his sons, who was to be his successor, who was to take the seat of the king to be king after himself. And the Lord chose Solomon, okay, in the Hebrew Shalomah, yeah, which means peace. For my son to for chosen Solomon for my son to sit upon the throne of the kingdom of the Lord Yahweh over Israel. So Solomon was going to be his successor, okay? And he said unto me, Solomon, thy son, he shall build my house and my courts, for I have chosen him to be my son. Okay, that's deep. And I will be his father, okay? Moreover, I will establish his kingdom forever, if he be constant to do my commandments and my judgments at as at this day. Okay. Now go back to verse 6, and it says, and he said unto me, Solomon thy son, he shall build my house and my courts. For I have chosen him, to be my son, and I will be his father. Okay. Because if you can bear in the spirit, Solomon is Yahweh Shai, okay, in the reincarnation, because even the Lord himself, the Messiah, he came in various lifetimes upon the face of the earth, okay, and he was indeed Solomon, yeah, but the Heavenly Father speaking to David said that, for I have chosen him to be my son. So the Father is saying, Yahweh is saying that your son, Solomon, I chose him to be my son, okay, and I will be his father, okay. Yeah, because that spirit of Solomon is the first spirit created, okay, the begotten spirit of the Father, okay, which is who? Yahweh Shai, okay. So when Yahweh Shai came on the earth in various lifetimes, one of his, for lack of a better word, one of his lifetimes, one of his characters, one of the men he came as was Solomon, okay. But nonetheless, all the way going back to when the Heavenly Father created a spirit, that is the spirit of Yahweh Shai. Okay. Moreover, I will establish his kingdom forever. All right. Now, that wasn't speaking of Solomon's kingdom, because when you get into the history of it, Solomon had, I believe it was 40 years of peace. Okay. But Solomon's kingdom eventually fell. Okay. And it says, if he be constant to do my commandments and my judgments. Now, Solomon had long spells of being consistent with the commandments and judgments of the Father Yahweh, but there was also times where he fell off, okay, gravely, immensely, okay, as at this day, So Solomon had good times and he had bad times. Okay, by the end of the day, it says, I will establish his kingdom forever. So Solomon's kingdom back then cannot be the kingdom which was established forever, man, because Solomon's kingdom fell. Okay, the kingdom which is established forever is the kingdom which is coming, man. After the destruction of Esau's society, uh, Yahushua is coming back. To put to set the captives free. Okay, to give joy and salvation unto his elect. Okay, with the nation of Israel starting with the elect. Okay, and his kingdom will reign upon the earth, an everlasting kingdom forever and ever, with world without end. Okay, but as it says, if you be constant to do my judgment, to my commandments and my judgment, as at this day, okay, because Solomon, when he started off, he was a very he was very wise man, righteous, wise, upright. Okay, but in his older years, when he lost his faculties, or he started, his eye dimmed, if you will. In his older age, he started to go off. Okay, now therefore, in the sight of all Israel, the congregation of the Lord Jehovah, and in the audience of our power, keep and seek for all the commandments of the Lord your power, that ye may possess this good land and leave it for an inheritance for your children after you forever. And thou, Solomon, my son, know thou the power of thy father, and serve him with a perfect heart, meaning perfect mind, and with a perfect willing, so like your perfect heart, and with a willing mind. Okay, his heart would be turned to his power perfectly, and a willing mind, meaning that whatever the Father would command, his thought would be willing unto, submitted unto the will of the Heavenly Father. For the Lord searcheth all hearts, and understandeth all the imagination of the thought. Yeah, because the word heart in Hebrew, lab, is the mind, and the understanding all the imagination of the thoughts. If thou seek him, he will be found of thee. But if thou forsake him, he will cast thee off forever. Take heed now, for the Lord hath chosen thee to build an house for the sanctuary. Be strong and do it. Okay, so David was encouraging, he was giving his charge, strengthening his son Solomon, okay, which if you can bear is Yahushai, okay, when he came as Solomon to build the house of Yahweh. Then David gave to Solomon his son the pattern of the porch, and of the houses thereof, and of the treasuries thereof, and the upper chambers thereof, and the inner parlors thereof, and of the place of the mercy seat. Now, the scriptures tell us that there's no new thing under the sun. Okay, because the scriptures also say that David was a man after the Most High's own heart. Okay, yeah, and just like at creation, Yahweh gave the blueprint or the patterns, if you will, of existence, the patterns of the creation, the patterns of the universes, like the patterns of the worlds, the patterns of everything seen and unseen. Okay, John 1 and 1, all things were made by him. Okay, and through him was nothing made that which was made. Okay, so everything was made by Yahushua, but the pattern, the blueprint came from the Father. Now, just like David is a man after the Father's own heart, he gave the patterns of the temple unto his son. You see? Okay, and the houses thereof, and the treasuries thereof. Okay, and it says in verse 12, and the pattern of all that he had by the Spirit of the courts of the house of the Lord. Okay, and of all the chambers round about, of the treasuries of the house of the Most High, and of treasuries of the dedicated things, priests and the Levites, and for all the work of the service of the house of the Lord, and for all the vessels of service in the house of the Lord. So every single thing to do with the temple, from the grandest of things to the most minute detail, and to those who served and how they would serve, and everything to do with the temple, that blueprint was given by the Spirit, as it said, yeah, in verse 12, to David. And he gave those patterns unto his son Solomon. Okay. And it says, and he gave of gold by weight for the things of gold, for all instruments of all manner of service, silver also for all instruments of silver by weight, for all instruments of every kind of service. Okay. And it talks about the candlestick, the menorah, and if you keep going on, it tells you everything that the plan which David, the patterns he gave and bestowed unto his son Solomon. Okay, Solomon, it says in verse 20, and David said to Solomon his son, be strong and of good courage, and do it. Fear not, nor be dismayed. For the Lord Jehovah, the Most High, even my power, will be with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee, until thou hast finished all the work for the service of the house of the Lord. And behold, the courses of the priests and the Levites, even they shall be with thee for all the service of the house of the Most High. And there shall be with thee all manner of workmanship, every willing, skillful man, for any manner of service. Also the princes and all the people will be holy at thy commandment. Okay, so those who were skilled of Yahweh, in different, workings with metals and woods and whatnot, the skillful men, they would come forth and give their service and aid unto Solomon, to, do their part to help build the house of Yahweh. Okay, but that man Solomon indeed was Yahweh Shai. And this in First Chronicles 28 is the account given basically the plans which the Father, which he got from the Spirit, from the Heavenly Father to do, but his son Solomon would do it. Now, if we go to Matthew chapter 16, and I'm gonna start from verse 18, and it says here, and I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Okay. Now, once again, another example of reincarnation. If you can bear it in the spirit, this man Peter uh, is David coming back in the reincarnation. Okay. So Yahweh Shai's disciple, which became an apostle, Peter, in a past life, Peter was Solomon's. Peter was David. So that means Peter was David. That means David is of Solomon. So Yahushua was speaking to one of his earthly fathers in a previous lifetime, which in that lifetime was his disciple. Okay, but you couldn't say about reincarnation. You can come back. You can and you can come back in a different role, but you'll be the same spirit. And when I say different role, as in where Peter was once Solomon's father, as he was David, now he is now, or at that time, now he was the disciple of that same spirit which in the previous lifetime he fathered. Okay, because Peter was the disciple of Yahweh Shai. Okay, come back as a different role, maybe father, son, disciple, wherever, but your same spirit is going to be subject onto the work which you had done in a previous lifetime. Okay, because David was involved in the building of the temple. Yeah, he didn't build it because he had too much blood on his hand, but the plans were given to him by the Heavenly Father, and his son built it. Okay, likewise, church, okay, which is the body, okay, not the building with the cross beams. Okay, the real church is the gathering of the elect, the called out ones. Okay, built upon the head disciple Peter. Okay, which you just established in the reincarnation. And upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And it says, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Okay. Because in a kingdom, David is going to be a king. Okay. He's going to be the king of Israel, because there's going to be many kings. Okay. First and foremost, all of the elect are kings. Okay, so order. There's the Heavenly Father, of course. You've got Yahweh Shai, which is the King of Kings. You see, because for Yahweh Shai to have the title King of Kings, there must be kings under him. That means he's the top king. Okay. Then under the top king Yahweh Shai, we're gonna have King David. Okay, which is okay, which was also Moses. Okay. See, that same spirit was, because Moses was called king of Israel in the wilderness. All right. So it's the same characters coming back playing the same roles. Okay. So that just as David had it in his heart, his mind to build onto the Heavenly Father a temple, that same body, which is not the physical temple, but the spiritual temple, which is the elect, the men, which is more powerful than the actual temple, physical building itself. Yeah. That was built upon him as the head disciple, Peter. Okay. Now we're going to get 1 Corinthians 14 and 32, and it says, and the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets. So yeah, if you're a prophet in a past life, you're going to come back as a prophet now. Okay. And whatever you did back then, most likely you're going to do it now. Okay. Now, David was involved with the building of the temple, although he didn't build it, he just got the plans. That same church was built on him in a different lifetime. Okay. So there we go, man. And to prove that the temple is more powerful when it's spiritual is because, yeah, Solomon built the temple of his father based on the plans that his father had, but did not Yahushua say, destroy this temple and I'll raise it up in 3 days again, because he was talking of himself. Okay, the head of the church, okay, which he put Peter, the head disciple, on which that church will be built on. Okay, so the spiritual temple, okay, the elect coming together as the body of Yahushua, as it talks of in scriptures, is more powerful than the physical one. But that's just a quick example in First Chronicles and Matthew 16 of the correlation between them, the building of the temple, and the characters that were, or the men in the accounts that were in Chronicles, predominantly David and Solomon, being the same as Yahushua and Peter. So anyways, with that, I hope it's been a clear, edifying lesson. Until the next time, I'll say shalom.